a panel discussion on responses to the crisis, on transformational changes that are happening and how we have met these challenges. I would like to first invite, I would invite all the panelists one after the other. I request you to please switch on the cameras when I call you up. First, I would like to introduce Sanjay Awasthi. He's a Vice President Supply Chain from Valvoline. We have Suresh Rathi, who is the Chief Supply Chain Officer of ACC. We have Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur, who is the Senior Director of Supply Chain in Dr. Reddy's. And we have Captain T.S. Ramanujam, who is the CEO of the Logistics Sector Skill Council. We have 4 different industries and 4 stalwarts from the from each of these sections. I would like to start the discussion by first inviting Sanjay Awasthi, who is a Vice President Supply Chain at Valvoline, to speak on the innovations that will change our views on supply chain, from digitalization to tailored networks, the kind of changes that he's seeing that will come up in supply chain as a part of the transformation journey. Sanjay, we have 7 minutes.
Yeah, sure. So, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. So, thanks for the opportunity, and probably I'll be building on what has been discussed. So far, everybody knows that COVID-19 affected all the aspects of human life. It has changed the way we buy, it has changed the way we consume, the way we travel, the way we work. You know, when we this all lockdown came and we started working from home, it was difficult to start with. Then we got adjusted to that, and now we are comfortable. We are able to manage it, and probably many of us would like to continue that way. So online, virtual, contactless, this all has become a part of our life now. We see online shopping is having a huge surge. It's moving from 13 to 31%. Is one of the surveys says that, and I'm sure this will continue to accelerate in future. Internet connections keep on moving in country is almost 75 crore now, and again it will go up. You can imagine 75 crore of internet connection is a huge number. So while this pandemic has disrupted, it has transformed too. We are completely in digital economy now, where consumers are loaded with a lot of information. They have a wide range of choices. They expect a faster deliveries at a lowest cost. So obviously, supply chain network what we have is no longer fit, and we need to realign. And probably we get into a greater need for the agility, localization, and complexity management. So therefore, innovation and technology adoptions are must, and probably it's no more a choice, and something which we have to do now. To keep the pace of supply chain, need to be flexible and agile. These 2 words, we all keep on hearing, and of course, this is a need of the hour also. While many of the companies they are ahead of curve, some of the company they need to catch it up. So in a similar line, we have also done a lot of digital solutions, and then we did some of the innovation in a supply chain processes, so that we are able to deliver and we are able to align ourselves. So of course, the starting point is always a change. So the entire organization has to be ready for the change. We need to break the silos, and then when I say silos, is among supply chain, finance, sales, marketing, and so on. Need to eliminate all those individual worksheets what used to maintain, move to a single ERP, move to integrated business process. So this is something which is required, and move from all those traditional supply chain which used to be linear to a connected digital supply chain where everything is connected with each other, so that they collaborate and then quickly get into the changes what is required. To do this whole thing, visibility is one of the key, and that's why this all the control tower and all those discussion came up in earlier panels. So this is must, and we all keep on hearing that artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, data analytics, data science, these all are no more a buzzword. Actually, these are all reality, And you'll see many of these things are being used by many of the companies, and soon all the company will be using it. So let's see some of the component quickly. I'll just run through a few of the things. Let's start with the planning. As in fact we heard also in a earlier panel discussion, planning process is completely changed. It's completely transformed. Earlier there was all the past data we were using to predict future is no more like that. Now is the forecasting has to be coupled with the demand sensing, and demand sensing has to come from the point of sale and multiple other channels. So that is what is required, and all the companies who are into FMCG is already moving into, and then other company also will catch it up. Sourcing, here again good amount of automation has been done, and here right from EPR to purchase order to vendor payment, everything is automated. Earlier this used to work in a silos, now there's no more silos. Vendor has a visibility for a good amount of forecast as a forward curve, what kind of demand will be there, so they have a visibility so that they get prepared. And not only that, we all the way secure supply up to supplier. That is something is expected, because that has come as one of the weak link when we did the risk assessment. So supplier remain equally important, and that was a point also covered in one of the panel discussion. Manufacturing, so keyword is a connected flexible manufacturing. So we need to continue to work on a multi-skilling of operators, and that is something was very handy when this lockdown has happened. When there were limited operators were allowed in a plant, multi-skilling was a key at that time. So we have to continue to work on that. We have to continue to innovate how we can run a plant during the break hours, continue to work on a SMED to reduce the changeover times, and so on. So with an ecosystem of sensors, analytics, automation capabilities, and visualization tools, all this when it comes together is, of course, is leading to predictive decision making. So this is what is leading to a smart factory, and that will be the future for the factories. And of course, this all will lead to a increased output, cost optimization, and one of the key thing is that space management, engineering space management. That has come up as one of the a good opportunity on a cost optimization when you have a multiple manufacturing locations. Next comes to a logistics, and logistics everywhere expectation is to have faster delivery at a lowest cost. So that's why we have to have those kind of smart warehouses. And on a smart warehouses, we have to start with the WMS is one of the things which many of the companies started working on. So WMS coupled with the QR code, that really leads to a faster retrieval. So of course that lead to ultimately faster deliveries and the accurate dispatches. Earlier, since there was a manual system, so there used to be a lot of error, mismatch, and so on. So once you have a QR code on that, it ensures you have accurate dispatches. Transport management system, again, it allows you all the inbound and outbound logistic tracking, and with the advantage of a real-time data, multiple sources, how things are moving, so you can track the inventory, and a lot of the planning can be done ahead of time, and that ultimately leads to a faster turnaround time for the trucks. Real-time route optimization, this is for the optimizing the delivery cost and faster deliveries, and that is one of the expectation from the customer. One more thing which in fact we have done, and many of the company would have done, that automation of e-way bill. Earlier this was a standalone system, and a lot of error used to happen. So with this complete automation, there is a zero error, and when there is a zero error, of course it moves to 100% legal compliance and hassle-free delivery. Many times if you have error in e-way bill, it gets stuck on some of the tools and so on. In continuation, we continue to work on to automate all the record keeping. A target to have a zero paper, everything is digital, so that no more manual work, which includes digital LR, digital POD, freight management, and so on. So apart from that, we also worked on a supply chain network optimization, which is available in many of the advanced planning tools. So everybody has to get into a optimize the manufacturing locations, get into a distribution center optimization, and what is the right number you want to have. While on this, we need to realign inventories to inventory across warehouses. And why this is important? This is to meet all those agility and resilience in the system. Because over the period of time, we have over optimized inventories, and that's why probably we need to relook into inventories. Next is portfolio optimization. This is one of the big learning which came from the COVID. While this used to be a process, and this is a proven process, and it's being practiced in most of the organization. But during COVID, we realized there is a merit, there is a case for this. So get into this optimization of portfolio. If there is a review process once in a year, get into a 6 months. So probably all those products which are having a low volume, low GP has to be taken out from the portfolio unless until they are strategic in nature. So what will happen when this kind of SKU goes up? Otherwise, you'll have very long tail. If you cut little bit, probably you'll be easing out manufacturing and inventory management and so on. Last one is like order management. Order management has to move away from all those taking order through the phone or through the emails, get into customer portal, where there is a seamless information exchange between the order management team, distributors, and the customer management team. And apart from that, this also get into automation of those account reconciliation. Many times is one of the pain point for the customers. So with this, a few of the things, I'm sure these are the good opportunity for the digital journey and the innovation in supply chain processes. And this is how we can bring some amount of agility in the supply chain. So that's it.
Thank you, Sanjay. That was very nice. That was very nicely put in terms of
how various in a 7-minute time. Yeah.
Yes, I know time is a challenge. I would now like Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur, who is the Senior Director Supply Chain and Head of Logistics, Central Planning and Corporate Sourcing for Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. He is a man who is most looked at, who is responsible for the biggest logistics challenge that India is ever going to see. Getting the vaccine to the multitudes who need it in time, and with those kind of temperature control requirements and conditions. Dr. Mathur, if you could share your experience and your wish and your vision for this transformation that you're seeing in the pharma supply chains.
Thanks, Girish, for that introduction. I hope I'm audible. Is it?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks for setting the context. And before I, dive into the vaccine logistics and the other aspects of, the vaccine distribution per se, I'll just add on to what the earlier speakers have, been talking about in terms of what is the kind of transformation that the supply chains went through post the lockdown and continues to do so in the COVID environment. And as rightly identified by various organizations and the leaders in those organizations, it is all about agility. And so if I were to kind of double click on that, we're talking about agility in planning, agility, and which actually has to lead to agility in so what are the strategies by which you can achieve both of that, because it doesn't really mean anything if you have agility in execution but you don't have agility in planning, and the other way around. So as we all understand now that the era of predictable and forecastable demand is now sort of over. Okay. And a lot of people are talking about demand sensing, like we heard earlier. But I'm not sure if demand sensing in alone will be able to allow you to capture the demand that you're going to experience. And whether we like it or not, because we have a lead time that we require for lining up the resources for production, and there is a production lead time and there are other lead times in the entire cycle, we do need some sort of a forward view as to what kind of a demand we are expected to experience. Now, if demand sensing is not going to do that, then what is the solution? What are the other options that are there with us? That's one question. I'll park it for now. We'll come to that later. The other thing is we need to have the flexibility built into a production system. That's of course that follows. Uh, but the third thing that follows from that is you also need your flexibility in contracts, because if your product mix is going to shift, if your product or your production planning is going to shift, then how can you lock in short-term and long-term contracts that are required to make your material available for production? So I think that is the challenge for the procurement professionals. How do you, number one, ensure that you have enough bench in your procurement network, you have enough alternate vendors you can procure from, and if you are in working in a regulated environment, how do you qualify them and how do you document them properly? So that flexibility, while it is a very nice word to talk about and very nice word to discuss, but when you get down to executing it, it is very difficult to bring in those flexibility with your partners. Okay, so that is one point on the flexibility. Now, one dimension on this entire flexibility that we also need to understand that just as this agility and flexibility poses a challenge for the supply chain professionals, it poses an equally uh, difficult problem for your finance professionals who have the task of giving very accurate and predictable financials. Okay, because in the last month of the quarter or the last month of the year, nobody is going to be happy if your company financials are changing from what you initially started off from. Okay, so the integrated business planning approach, unless it integrates your constantly updating numbers in terms of product cost, in terms of the product mix, in terms of your raw material cost, and also your margins from the front end, your system has to be agile and flexible to be completely online and aligned with the moving with the moving goalpost of supply chain. So that system is still not there, and I think there's a lot of work happening. There are a lot of companies that are already aware of this problem, and then they are working on it. So integrated business planning will have to expand to include financial planning as well. That will be the new normal going forward. So with that I come back to my first point that I raised about, if forecasting is not the solution, and if demand sensing is not the does not provide the complete solution for being able to accurately plan your supply chain, then what exactly do we need to do? So I think using different technologies that are there, and they might involve machine learning and so many other such technologies. I think we have to start now learning to live and to use scenario modeling. Starting the year with a single plan and hoping that you will live with that plan for the next 12 months, that's a little unrealistic to expect in the current scenario. You have to kind of look into the crystal ball, or like if you've seen this Avenger movies, the Marvel movies, you have a character called Doctor Strange. He's able to go through multiple scenarios, millions of scenarios, and able to predict which is that one scenario wherein the Avengers are going to win over the villain of the comic. So that scenario modeling and capabilities where you are able to evaluate various scenarios, maybe not millions, but yes, a lot of scenarios, and are able to plan for them and also have an execution approach to both of them. So that is something that will continue to evolve. So that is, as far as the challenge of supply chain transformation post the lockdown is concerned. Now, Girish, to your other point that you spoke about the vaccine. Of course, vaccine distribution is going to be a very huge execution task for the vaccine manufacturers and distributors. And considering that this is a very accelerated approach to vaccine development and availability that we're talking about, even in the execution and logistics, this will continue to be an accelerated approach. So we'll have to solve for things as we are walking. You don't have really time to plan and freeze capacities and get into contracts much in advance. So these are exciting times. We'll see how we live through it and how we pan it out. But apart from the impact of vaccine distribution on the vaccine manufacturer themselves, I think this is something to watch out for even for the other manufacturing organizations, because at least in the first 2 waves of vaccine distribution, you will see huge volumes moving across all modes, whether it is by air in international, whether it is by road on domestic or air in domestic. This movement will take away a lot of capacity. It will take away not only logistics capacity and freight capacity, it will take away a lot of material capacity as well. Just to give you an example, if your vaccines are going to be packed in glass vials, you can expect a surge of demand in glass vials. Similarly, you will expect a surge in the demand of the packing solutions, and you will experience a surge in demand of everything else, including trucking and cold chain infrastructure that will use this distribution. So we all have to watch out for this vaccine movement. We do not know how long this will last, whether this will require the complete population to be vaccinated before we achieve herd immunity, or this is something probably which is just a short-term 6 months sort of a scenario that is getting played out. We'll need to wait and watch for that. So this is anybody's guess how this will impact the vaccine itself, distribution itself, and how it will impact the other supply chain. We all are in the same boat as far as the vaccines are concerned. Let's see how it starts and how it takes us through. So Girish, those were just the some thoughts I had. I thought I can share with your esteemed panel and your delegates on the forum. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Suresh, I hope your technical issues have been sorted. If you could come in now.
Yeah, is it audible now?
Yeah, you're audible, right?
Okay. Thank you, Girish. Sorry that there was a technical glitch. Okay, very quick. I just wanted to not take much of time. We'll finish it within the 6 minutes. The first thing which I wanted to just tell everyone is how all the past learning has been proven in this period of time that those learnings were probably of the past, and what we need to quickly learn again. That's a simple thing which I would put it as a COVID has taught us. It has taught us how to learn again. That is something which I have seen, because we have living in the world of technology, and you can't separate technology today from our business or from our personal life. I would say all those demand issues which we saw during COVID times, post-COVID time, the way contraction of demand happened and the way the surge in the demand came for many products. Some of them are still going through the problem, but I think many of the products have seen surge, and these are unprecedented surge. It's a nightmare for any supply chain professional in order to cope up with this kind of surges. If you look at our product, sometime in May, June, we were going through the contraction, and the way end of June, I mean sometime second fortnight of June, right up to August, what we saw was a mind-boggling surge in the demand. And there was a right also when we analyzed later, we understood the whole labor force of the country have moved into their native places, in the native towns or in native villages. And obviously those people in the corona time have realized, they need space. Social distancing became the norm. So everybody probably must be busy in making 1 room or 2 room or 5 room extensions in their houses. This is something which is unprecedented, and therefore we went through a lot of not just logical but a lot of emotional issues in the way the drivers got stranded. You need to take care of the drivers, because suddenly your SNOP, all the good SNOP kind of models, they became outdated because you need to map them with red, amber and green. Now these were the new normal. that you have to take care of your planning in such a way that you don't make the driver enter into a red area. Yeah, but whatever said and done, planning is planning. The actual execution is by the time driver reaches to that city, the city was green, it became a red. And that was the dynamics of those times. But thank God we have left all those things behind. I think what I will do is I will just put a small presentation from my side. Is it visible now? Girish, is it visible?
Yes, it is visible, sir.
Okay,
it is visible.
Thank you. Thank you. So what I will do is I'll just quickly go through this few slides, and the idea is not to really dwell upon the slide or dwell upon the, but what is important to all of us as a practitioners is to bother about each of these things. As my other speakers, my panelists have also spoken, everything in supply chain we need to bother about what is customer asking. We have to start something from every time. The starting point is customer expectations. What is my consumer expecting? So if I look at it in this period of time, I know every time they have been asking the same questions. How can you be more fast? How can you be more flexible? How can you be more efficient? How can you provide more visibility to me? But I think the meaning of more, as Nestle speaker also said, is something have been understood in this period of time by supply chain professional. What is more? It's not like those old Dil Mange more. I think it was so much of more that we could not really understood the meaning of it, and we all went to the. So I would only say that these are the blocks, but each of these I understood in terms of what could be the technological solution to that. So when we say fast, now can we get into an Indian fractured transport organization getting into the Uberization? This is a challenge for all logistic people. How do we Uberize the whole transport mechanism in India? And it's a huge job, but a few people have done it. So a lot of technological in terms of predictive analytics, demand forecasting, and all those tools are available today. How do we adopt what the in terms of flexibility? A lot of AI systems are coming, a lot of collaborative tools are available. In terms of sustainable, now this is something which is very important for a country like India. What we need to do is we need to now make a not just transform, but I would say get into a be prepared for disruption. If the blockchain is supposed to come, let's say in 5 years ahead, I think the way COVID has taught all of us is anything which was happening in 2025, we have seen that already happening in 2020 itself. Whether it was a kind of demand, if you look at the rate of, or if you look at the way our children, a 5-year-old or 7-year-old, got glued into the screens. So whatever we would have imagined in our life that my son will do it in 2025, they were already doing it in this period of time. So I'm very, very certain that even the Indian scenario would also be inviting the blockchain faster than any period of time. And of course, electrical vehicles, we all can say very well that trucking is still far away. I can tell you that trucking is also not far now. Electric, though it may be costly today, but there are a lot of people who are trying it out. I think there is a bit of noise on the other side. All right. Okay, let's come to
Girish, can you mute? Sorry, Suresh. Girish, can you mute yourself, please, to avoid the disturbance? Thank you.
Thanks.
I am on mute.
All right. Now it's better. So in terms of granularity, now this is something which just now, Dr. Mathur was speaking about vaccine delivery and all. Now I feel like we have never been prepared for a drone delivery so fast in the country. But I personally believe this is the time to do that experiment. We know that it requires a cold chain and all that we have seen recently. But I still believe there are dry dry carbon dioxide kind of boxes and last mile delivery of vaccine. You need to be dynamic. You can't plan that I will make 100 injections available at 100 vaccines available at so and so place. You will never know about it. You might fall short of it. And then last minute, if you have to really meet some delivery targets, drone is the solution for that 20, 30, 40 extra vaccine. Because the traffic of Mumbai, traffic of Delhi, Nothing is reliable. So I'm looking at those kind of experiment happening in this period of time. And I'm very glad that Government of India not only came with the Arogya Setu app. You can see now they are already ready with the COVID app. Now this is what is the need of the hour. Anything you want to try, this is the best time to do a pilot. This is the best time to make a test case. In terms of tracking, I feel this visibility story is the most important. As my other speakers also said, I think the customers are in India also have been very demanding this period of time in terms of visibility. And if we have to be moving towards blockchain, I think this is one piece which we are still finding technical solutions to it. My sense is the world has moved ahead. The visibility on technical side is already over. Technologies, the solutions are available. The only question is, yeah, they have to be affordable. B, they have to be accepted by our stakeholders, especially in terms of drivers. Yeah, but technology is barely available, and I can see this can do wonders. With the 1st of January 2021, the tolling system, the toll gates are going to be FASTag enabled, and therefore, if that is the kind of a mandate coming from Government in India, it throws a huge opportunity for many supply chain people, many supply chain professionals. I will touch upon that topic once again. In terms of efficiency, all of us, we know very well, efficiency is very much required, and therefore, particularly when the laborers are becoming a scarce commodity, how do we deploy some of the robots? The debate about whether they will eat up the human jobs, that will continue to remain. They were there 20 years back when the computers came, and they will again be there in this period of time, whether the robots have eaten away the human jobs. That debate will continue to happen. But the fact remains that if you do not become efficient, then you are only extinct. Last one, which I would say integrated. Now, this is something which I wanted to touch upon. The one which I gave you example about toll gates, about the FASTag. You can see a huge business opportunity is knocking on the door. For some of you who wants to, try your hands in terms of freight aggregation business in India, that's a huge opportunity. Without much of your investment, you can actually understand how do we massage the data systems. The data available from various toll checkposts. There are so many checkposts in India. If you are able to systematically arrange those data, you can very well find out in the next 24 hours how many trucks have left between A to Z, and whether they have stopped at G checkpost, have not moved to H and I. I think the supply into that, the truck supply into the G market is very well predicted. The same is true of the other way around. The way the attendance in the G checkpost or H checkpost, you can predict how much have been loaded yesterday, and therefore what is the demand of yesterday. And if you know over a period of time this kind of trend, one can very well get into the mode of knowing how much is supply and how much is demand of the truck in a particular market. And that's the freight aggregator business. So a fantastic model now going to be coming up in India is a freight aggregator, which have been struggling in the past. I know this is a 5-7 years old system, not taken off in India, but I'm very confident that next 1 year, 2 years, the business is going to surge. The second part which I would like to touch upon, the integration part, is a very interesting part in terms of visibility. What we did in our supply chain system in the last 6 months is we provided the visibility to our dealers and retailers. And these dealers and retailers, we have almost about 22,000, and we operate about 800 warehouses in the country for the 2 brands. Now, what I wanted to say you is this particular visibility as a technology, it was available even 10 years back. But the kind of technology today available, it is on the click of a mobile system. So we have an app where a customer can very well order, and not only order, he gets sometimes he gets a delivery. It's just about an hour or 2 hours, which in the past used to take at least 1 day or 2 days. Now all this is possible because there has been a paradigm shift which introduced because of this. What we did is we did a statistical demand forecast, and we understood the demand forecast at granular level of town and the city. What we do is now a certain percentage of our demand, we actually move those many trucks without receiving the order. Now, this is something which is a fantastic thing happening in this period of time, and we've seen the customers' feedback. The truck have already reached into the city limit. They are just standing outside the city limit, waiting for the order. As soon as the order comes, the customer gets a supply within 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Now, this is same thing. I'm sure all of you would have seen how Amazon, if you order a book, exactly same book gets delivered within a day. And nowadays it must be less than a day. Now, this is where I'm saying the visibility helps a lot. So what is important is integration of two technology, visibility along with the demand forecast. So I think like that, there are a lot of hybrid ideas, and I would personally, challenge each and every one of us in terms of this is the time to kill, this is the time to make technology work for us. And innovation can only happen if we have already challenges in hand. Innovation is, I go with the old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. I think this is the time, probably necessity has arisen. I think we all have to rise now. That's all from my side. Thank you. Thank you, Girish.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you very much. I would now like to invite Captain Ramanujam, who is the CEO of Logistics Skill Council. Captain, sir, before we begin, I would like to thank you for your long service to the nation. Captain was in one of the toughest jobs in the Indian Navy. He was a submariner for a very, very long time. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate. Thank you for your service to our nation. And
thank you very much, Mr. Girish. And thank you, Dr. Rakesh Singh, for having given me this opportunity. I have been listening to this dialogue from the esteemed speakers, and so much. It reminds me of this welding. You have IIT professors who talk the high-end metallurgy, and the welder down who's going to do the welding, he says, I will do it my own way. So that's where there's such a big gap between our supply chain professionals and the foot soldiers on ground. And the job of the Sector Skill Council is to ensure that this foot soldier at least comes up to a level where he can understand the demands that our professionals face. So that's what our job is, and it's a tough job, I can tell you that. Now, firstly, my topic was skilling for tomorrow, and what is the role of the Sector Skill Council. Before we talk about the future, we should know what is the past. As in the past, I think all trainings used to be exactly for 5 days or 6 days at best, and the week following, the man Jack gets down to work. That has been the way it has been happening. And in fact, everybody learns on the job at the cost of the employer. And if it's a driver, he learns at the cost of the vehicle and at the cost of the employer. That's the way it has been. And even the nature of the logistics business has changed. If it was a warehouse, how long you kept cargo in the warehouse meant you got the revenue for that and you made money. That has changed completely. Now, how quickly you can turn over the cargo is the metrics for efficiency and productivity and revenue. And also, what is the value addition that you do becomes a very important metric. So therefore, even the role of a logistics company has kind of changed now. And given the very low barriers to entry, 98% of our logistics sector is a small, medium enterprise who are very busy running the day-to-day kind of activity and really don't have the time, effort, energy to do any kind of meaningful training. And that's where the past has been. Now, what has changed? Now there are a little more of 3PLs coming in, 2PLs, 3PLs, and possibly 1 or 4PL also. The nature of the demand itself has changed. There's a higher velocity of movement, and there's a higher volume of movement, which means it's become a very challenging environment as regards the flow of cargo. And honestly, the workforce actually literally has to ship it, or they have to ship out themselves. So, and we need to do everything right the first time because the cost of penalty is so high. If I get a wrong color t-shirt from Flipkart, I'm not going to order on Flipkart, I'll go to Amazon. That's the way life is. So we need to get it all right first time. Now digitization has started disrupting, and the most classic example is the customs itself, the ICE gate, and entire documentation has become paperless suddenly. That has resulted in a big question mark for a whole lot of custom brokers who were, literally sitting on table chair and making documents. So they put their jobs on a question mark. So they need to kind of the role of the intermediaries itself has become a question mark. Now, what does all this imply? It implies that change is the only constant and we need to adapt to it. And the human resource has to be trained and motivated enough to put in and day out in sustained performance. And most of this thinking, as we all are aware in logistics, happens when you're thinking on the feet. It's not that you are sitting on a comfortable air-conditioned office and thinking. So it all has to be done in the heat of the warehouse, and you need to be thinking pretty fast. And as everybody has said, flexibility is the key, which basically means that the worker has to have the required attitude, skills, and knowledge. And mind you, I am stated in that deliberately in that order. Attitude is the main thing, skills and knowledge. Now, against all this backdrop of this, now we have talked about what is the past, what has changed, and what does it imply. Now, let's think about the most important person, the candidate on the job. Now, what are his demands? He wants to have a job which is little meets his aspirations. That means at least, let's leave the pay salaries apart. At least he wants to be able to be mobile, horizontally mobile, vertically mobile. Tomorrow, his wife is from some other state and he gets married. He wants to have a job in that state. So he must be able to join some other sector. Again, when he's doing a certain job, he wants to be vertically mobile. I mean, nobody likes, I join as a packer and die as a packer. I mean, that's the last thing I want. Then the candidate, he feels that, the youngsters of today, gone are those days when somebody joined TVS and he stayed on till he retired. It's not that. The people shift jobs, which means they want to continuously learn, upskill themselves, learn things more, and then continue to be productive in whatever they do. So this is from the candidate side. From the company side, I think all of my previous speakers have elucidated it amply, loud and clear, that digitization is here to stay. Either we digitize or we have to, there's no other alternative to digitization, you have to be in it. My speakers have talked about warehouse management system, transport management system, and so on, machine learning, AI, etc. So that's the order of the day now. And also we have realized that multitasking is the norm rather than an exception. So this is the requirement from the company. So with all these kind of diverse kinds of requirements, what has the Logistics Sector Skill Council done? We started in 2015 with a clean slate, and there was nothing. So we went about in firstly scoping the sector. Now we have scoped this logistics sector into 12 subsectors. I won't go into the details of it, it's there in the website, but suffice it to say that anything to do with storage, distribution, transportation across all three modes comes within the purview of the Logistics Sector Skill Council. And this necessitated us to work with almost 7 to 8 ministries in the government. And that is a problem. It's always a problem when you have multiple fathers on a lighter vein. And we had to contend with Ministry of Shipping, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of Commerce, Customs, and then of course all the social ministries, MHRD, Ministry of Social Justice, and so on and so forth. So it becomes quite a problem when you have to meet so many people and then get things done. Now, despite all that, we have created what's called Rationalized Job Roles. this has become an exemplar for other sector skill councils. What is a rationalized job roles is basically we have clubbed multiple tasks so that it comes under one particular job role, and this enables the candidate to both be horizontally mobile as well as vertically mobile. And these rationalized job roles, how we have done this is by having what's called occupational standards, the core NOS, elective NOS, and optional NOS. Core NOS covers the compulsory, that is the occupational health, safety, as well as what is core to it. For example, warehousing, it could be warehousing, a fulfillment center for e-commerce, or a sorting center for a courier express industry, or a container freight station, but the principles of warehousing remain the same. So warehousing would be the core NOS. The elective would be specific to process or product. So whether if it's a container freight station, you'll go into container stuffing and so on and so forth. Optional would be what is needed for the promotional career advancement. So using this, we have developed these rationalized job roles, and for 12 subsectors which covers end-to-end from warehousing to liquid logistics to rail to air to sea, we'll be having about 80 odd job roles, which means it's been pretty done in a quite a standardized format. Just to give you an idea, European Union did a study of 4 subsectors in Tamil Nadu of 350 odd companies. They arrived with 780 odd job roles. You can imagine the chaos that's there in this. In fact, Safe Express in Coimbatore and Safe Express in Chennai would have 2 different people doing similar jobs, but entry levels are different, salaries are different, and that's kind of a thing. So by rationalizing, we have kind of made it a standard kind of a format. Then we started advocating apprenticeship as a route for skilled human resource. And for the first time, services sector apprenticeships were there for manufacturing sectors. We are now introduced apprenticeship for the service sector, and we have created 30 optional trades, and more will be created. And now again, we have almost enrolled 10,000 apprentices in a year and a half. And this is a major gain for this industry, because you will have people who are trained for the particular job. Now, once we had this apprenticeship, we took the next logical step of embedding apprenticeship in the higher education system. In fact, what the new educational policy, NEP 2020, that you would all heard, was recently launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. We were the first ones to launch this as a degree apprenticeship program in the year 2019-20. And in fact, 300 students are undergoing this degree apprenticeship, BBA Logistics, which is a flagship program, in 15 institutions. And these 300 students underwent about 2 months of apprenticeship, and the feedback has been a resounding success. Wherein, I mean, they talk like logistics professionals. There's a sense of pride in their job, and the sense of confidence that they have got by doing the job is quite. I mean, when you see those interviews, it straight away hits you. So we have this BBA Logistics, and the apprenticeship in the odd semesters, the candidate is in the college. In the even semesters, the candidates are apprenticed in companies by LSC, and we ensure a placement. We have selected the apprenticeship in 3 subsectors of great demand: warehousing, ISCM, and there is a freight forwarding and e-commerce. And from there, seeing the success of this, we have now launched specialized programs, bachelor management studies in agri storage and supply chain, air cargo and aviation services, e-commerce operations, ISCM and express, maritime logistics, and land transportation. And this has a little different format: 2 years of theory followed by a final year of apprenticeship. And there were almost 50 institutions have taken up this particular program. And as regards the maintenance, we got approval from the AICTE. We have launched a diploma in logistics technology in 2 institutions, one in Khammam and the other in Bhiwadi in Rajasthan. This will be for the maintenance of material handling equipment and other such conveyors and containers and so on and so forth. We have managed to embed in the ITIs 2 logistic trades, that is namely for in-plant logistics and material handling equipment technician. And now having done all this, we thought we must catch them young. So we have now introduced in the class 9 and 11 a logistics literacy program. We ran it in 2 schools for children of daily wage labor in Coimbatore, and that was again a very big success. And the World Bank has now approved us to launch this in 40 schools, 20 in AP and Maharashtra, which we are doing it because of the pandemic. We could not kind of launch it straight away. Now, as I speak, in fact, today, just about half an hour back, the University Grants Commission has approved our proposal, that is Logistics Sector Skill Council and Shastra University. We proposed for an online BBA logistics program, and just half an hour back, we have got the approval from the UGC. And we also will be launching an MBA logistics. I'm finishing now.
Yeah.
So this is basically now to conclude. Therefore, we have created a pathway where candidates can learn while earn, right from school to their post-graduation. And finally, we have made logistics as a sector where people join by choice and not by default. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, we don't seem to have too many questions here for the panel, so I think we will now go straight to the final segment of the day, which are 2 presentations. I would like to invite Vivek sir. I thank all the panelists, Captain Ramanujam, Suresh, Sanjay, and Dr. Mathur for their time taken to come to the panel. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was a pleasure hosting you.
The pleasure. Thank you.